It is the greyest, yuckiest day, but it is also party day for my 9-year-old. And I'm going to take you along and show you what a party looks like in our family, trying to be budget friendly and sustainable, but still have 9-year-old fun. I am so tired. I decorated a birthday cake until about midnight last night, which is a tradition that I grew up with. We would wake up to a surprise birthday cake of something we were loving, and they were one of the most memorable parts of birthdays, so I'm loving carrying on that tradition for our kids. But it always happens at midnight. I woke up in last night's makeup and got straight on to the football pitch, the side of the football pitch. Cheered the boys on, and now I'm going to take a shower, wash my hair, and dive into party mode. The weather is still nasty out there, but at least I feel clean. I'm ready to be party mum. Let's go do it.
We are hosting the party this year at my parents' house. We did the same thing last year at our house, but they live a lot closer to all of our school friends, so it felt a bit more convenient and easy for the other parents, which we wanted to do. Side note, these little portraits are what we gave my parents last year for Christmas. One of each of their grandchildren. They're pretty easy to make, so a great little low-waste gift idea there. And this is where we will be hosting the party, or the eating, playing part of the party. And Tony's actually sent us this PR package. We get one each year with their advent calendars in, and I'm going to take some of the chocolate, perfect timing, and use it to stuff the pinata, which has become a tradition in our family. I first made a pinata, I think, when our son turned 4, and then the next year he asked me, "Where's my pinata?" And so we made another one, and we have not looked back. We do one each year, along with a homemade cake of something that they are loving that year. This year it was a Minecraft creeper, and I love these traditions that are not about a lot of stuff, but are so meaningful. The cakes that we were made as kids are hands down the piece that sticks in my memory more than anything else, gifts or parties or anything. So we love carrying on that tradition, even if it means I always stay up till midnight the night before a party. The pinatas are a fairly easy DIY. We just take a box and cut it into the shape of the number that we want, stick it into a 3D shape with paper tape, and then cut up any magazines and recycling into these little frill strips and stick them on with a flour and water glue so it can all go in the compost afterwards. And then we fill them with whatever we have, really. I went to the bulk shop and got my son's favourite sweets, which are sour cola bottles, also my favourite. And then I've wrapped them up myself in foil so that when they fall on the floor, they're not just open sweets on the floor. And then we're also putting in the little tiny Tonys. If we're going to do chocolate or something at a party like this, it's always going to be fair trade. It's a big value to me that, especially when we're celebrating something, it doesn't come at the expense of other people in terms of labour and supply chains and fair pay. So we're always going to go fair trade on chocolate, and we have filled that pinata. If you didn't want to do sugar, you could always do something non-edible, like little stickers or something like that, maybe tattoos. I think actually I might do that next time. I think those would go down really well too and wouldn't lead to everyone guzzling what they knock out of the pinata. Then we just hang it up in the ceiling and they take it in turns to hit it down and let out all the candy and chocolate that is inside. It's become such a fun tradition that all their friends really look forward to. So that pinata is ready to go, and we're on to food prep. Today's birthday menu, by my son's request, is pizza and mac and cheese. We have done mac and cheese, I think, at every party since we first hosted a kid birthday party. It's such an easy one for a crowd, and it's really easy to make a second one that is vegan and gluten-free, so it can cater to a range of dietary requirements. And his friends apparently now ask if there's going to be mac and cheese. I feel flattered. So we had to make sure that there was a good mac and cheese, and then he also wanted to do pizza. I love pizza for feeding a crowd. It feels really fun, but it's pretty budget friendly and easy to make. It does take someone sitting over the oven and putting the pizzas in one by one, but it then results in a really fun meal. So I'm happy to do it. Here I've got about 1 kilogram of pasta, which we will cook up and make into a mac and cheese. And then I've got some passata, which we're going to turn into a simple pizza sauce. And I'm not going to do a ton of different toppings. We're just going to go with cheese pizzas and sausage pizzas. For everyday life, we typically go with a whole wheat pasta to try and get as much fiber in our diets as we can. But when we're hosting different people, I feel like white pasta is a more normal option. And so I want to do what would make the most people feel like they're getting what they normally have and are used to. So we went with a white macaroni pasta. And then we're doing white pizzas as well. Again, typically we go with a whole wheat pizza crust just because the flour is actually cheaper whole wheat where we buy it in bulk, and also it gets that important fiber in our diet. But we do all really love a fluffy white pizza, and so we do that sometimes, and that is what we are doing today. I do not like kneading bread, which is one of the reasons I usually make sourdough, because it doesn't require me to have the patience to sit still for 10 minutes and knead the dough. But my 3-year-old hid my sourdough starter, so I couldn't find it anywhere in the days leading up to the party. So we are doing a really simple and quick yeast pizza dough. I just add everything to the bowl and let it stand for a little bit, then give it 10 minutes of kneading, and then we will let it rise for about an hour here in this bowl. I'm just going to leave it out on the countertop to do its thing, and we'll do some more food prep tasks. My mum told me that I was being optimistic, putting vegetables out on the table to go with the mac and cheese. Normally, we would add veg on top of pizza or into our mac and cheese, something like kale or nettles or broccoli. But again, that's not everyone's taste or norm, so I just wanted to do a plain mac and cheese today, and we did raw veggies on the side. I put out a plate and about a third of it went, maybe I was a little hopeful, but I wanted some veg in the mix. I just pulled the most appropriate vegetables from our Abel and Cole box this week, and that's what I used. So it was rings of pepper and carrot sticks. It's really my value with parties to use what we can get in a sustainable, budget-friendly way and create the party from those things, rather than planning a theme and a menu and then being forced to do those things in a way that is less budget friendly and less sustainable. So if we're doing take-home gifts or prizes for party games, I'll pop to the charity shop and see what's there in a more sustainable way, using what's already in circulation rather than first having a plan. This year I knew we weren't planning on doing many games, but I found a 3D Harry Potter puzzle in the charity shop that I knew my son would love, and so that would probably be a good party game prize. And then everyone is just taking home a small Tony's chocolate bar. We did the same thing last year because I found them on clearance, and then we paired that with a Polaroid photo that we had taken through the party, so everyone had a little keepsake and a chocolate bar. Other times I've done more creative gifts. We did tie-dye t-shirts that I found on Vinted, and we dyed them with black beans one year, and another year I sewed parchment paper and we did cookie decorating, and everyone took home a sewn parchment paper bag with stickers. We do different things every time, but we always try and work with what's already in circulation and what we can get, and then shape our gifts on that. Our cheese sauce here is almost ready to add to the pasta. I will note in the caption where these different recipes are, but they're all fairly simple things. And we've got this pizza sauce that we're making as well. This is about 1.5 liters of milk in with 1 kilogram of pasta, and then we'll add cheese into it as well. This is one of my favorite noises in the world, stirring pasta into a cheese sauce. I just think it's the most wonderful sound. So our mac and cheese is done. Our passata pizza sauce is just going to simmer until it becomes a yummy, flavorful pizza sauce. And at this point, my girls were hungry and sat down to a bowl of pasta while they were asking, how many minutes until everyone arrives? How many minutes? Meanwhile, over here, you can see our pizza dough is about doubled in size, and it is a really light and airy ball of pizza dough. So then I'm going to divide it into 16 pizza-sized pieces, which means when the energy is high and we are slinging pizzas into the oven, we can easily just grab a pizza-sized amount of dough, throw it in the skillet and into the oven. So I'm going to just take each piece of dough and pull it into a ball with a nice taut top and lay it back down on the countertop. I don't even cover it with anything. They're just going to sit there for the next probably 1.5 hours before we start making pizzas. At an event like this, you never know how much food is going to be needed, so I like to do things that are easy to take as leftovers and easy for us to use a different day. So this pizza dough at the end of the night, either the balls can be thrown into the oven to become bread rolls, or we can flatten them out into pizza crusts and freeze them as the dough for pizza crusts and pull them out another time when we want them. And then when we're at the table and serving, I will always serve smaller portions. Kids can always come back for more. It is a massive way to cut down on food waste at a party. I also find having fewer options mean kids aren't tempted to take one of everything, and that leads to less waste as well. My husband had been lecturing all day, and so I finally got him back as the party started, and we welcomed everyone with hot chocolate. This actually wasn't my plan, but I had leftover milk from the mac and cheese, and I realized I've only got water for this party because that's all we really drink. So I used it to make a little hot chocolate, and then we were at my mom's house and she had these marshmallows. I knew she's not a marshmallow person. She's bought them for something and is not going to use them for a long time, so she said we could use them. So we started off with some fair trade green and blacks hot chocolate and giant marshmallows while everyone slowly arrived and ran around and said hi, and then we started the movie. At this point, the house was magically silent, and we felt like geniuses for choosing a movie party. Everyone was just watching and calm. We poured a glass of wine. It was kind of magical. And then, as we knew the movie was coming to an end, we started cranking out pizzas. So these balls had risen slightly. They were perfect and ready for pizza. And so then I just stretched them out. We've got the oven on full blast, and we put the dough into the skillet, load it up with the sauce and cheese and whatever's going on top, and then it's had a couple of minutes while we've been loading to cook, which gives it a nice crispy base, and then it goes into the oven. If we're only cooking for a few people, I will cook them in the skillets, but because we were planning on churning out 10 to 15 pizzas, once the base was nice and crispy, we transferred each pizza onto a baking sheet, and then it went into the oven. But that way you still get the crispy crust, but you can make a lot of pizzas in a short space of time with only 1 or 2 skillets. One thing I've had to do in hosting kid parties is just decide that I am bowing out of the idea of kind of keeping up with the Joneses on fancy parties and maybe what things should look like and how much we should or other people are spending on parties, and decide that actually what matters most is that we create a joyful, fun environment, that the kids have a memorable experience, and that we do parties by our budget and our values. And so it can be so easy to compare on anything, and especially when it comes to parenting and what we do with kids, but it's really helped me to realize there is sometimes this idea that we have to keep up and do what other people are doing and hire out event spaces and do what other people in the class are doing. But actually, I am comfortable, and I choose to be comfortable, and I will continue to be comfortable throwing parties that feel like us and are by our values. And obviously we want the kids to have fun, and that's something we watch and make sure, and we work on planning parties with them. But beyond that, I am happy doing something different from what other people are doing, like not sending home party bags with 15 small pieces of plastic in. That is just not what our lives look like, and so we will always do something different. And the same when it comes to food. We kept it really simple. There was water and hot chocolate and homemade pizzas and a few veggies, but the kids were all so happy around the table. With about half an hour left before grown-ups were arriving, we sent the kids off to just run and play and be together. We did a bit of cleanup and packed up all the leftovers. Taking as much time as I did to cook for this day, I always want to make sure that I have done multiple meals worth, so we can take leftovers home, and then tomorrow, instead of having to cook anything, we can just pull out pizza leftovers, mac and cheese leftovers, chopped veggies, and there is no prep work needed, so that we can rest the day after. We had 5 of the 16 pizza dough balls left, so they just went into the oven that was still hot from doing the pizzas, and they will be a nice, easy breakfast or something, or they can go in the freezer, but no leftovers are wasted. Then everyone came crashing back in for pinata and cake. This is such a fun moment of every party. 9 is probably the oldest. I'm happy to have people using a broomstick to hit a pinata inside the house. The first hit took it down this time. We strung it back up, and then they take it in turns to hit it once, and slowly the chocolate and candy and the different things come out of the pinata until it is destroyed on the floor and everyone is happy and has a little bit to take home. And finally, the last thing to do was to light the candles and sing happy birthday. I put in these little sparklers and then they didn't light, so we took those out and there were just 4 candles. We sung happy birthday and then everyone chose what they wanted of ice cream and cake, and we were done. My son kept running in and telling me what he'd been given, and we always tell people on the invite we don't need a gift at all, but if they would like to give, we love secondhand things from charity shops, or something passed on from their home.
We're done. I came upstairs to clean up after having a shower, and it's silent. And now I want to hide here. But it was actually fun. It was great. 9 is the oldest I'm doing a pinata. That thing flew across the room whole, and then we strung it back up. But it's a great fun tradition and activity that I love, and now it will just all go in the compost. But I'm going to finish cleaning up, pour a glass of wine and rest. But that's a wrap on another cute party.